Planning your next trip to New York City? When planning a trip anywhere, you'll want to know the best must-do activities, iconic sites, and vibrant neighborhoods. Hi, I'm Taya. I'm a travel content creator, and I post weekly videos inspiring other creators how to travel more, land paid collabs, and elevate their brand. I visited New York City in both September and December, so I have done quite a bit around the city. You have to go to the Statue of Liberty. It's a must. If you can, snag the Ellis Island ferry. However, we were a little last minute, so we were able to get ours on Get Your Guide for like $30. You can get a ferry to the Statue of Liberty, to Ellis Island, and then back to New York City. You don't have to get off at Ellis Island if you don't really want to walk around, which we didn't. Like, it was hot, it was time to go. We just wanted to see the Statue of Liberty, so then we just took the ferry back to the city. There's a few things in New York City that you have to do, not necessarily every time, but definitely your first time. If you're only going once, you have to do all the touristy things, and walking the Brooklyn Bridge is one of them. Go to Dumbo and then take those iconic pictures. To avoid the crowds, it would make sense to go like during sunrise for some really nice shots, but you can kind of work the crowds out of your pictures. I went in the late afternoon, so it wasn't too busy, but it also wasn't empty there. Times Square is a must. I always tell people, when you go to Times Square, even though it's outside, you know, when you go somewhere or when you walk into a room that's really bright and it kind of takes you back and your eyes have to adjust, that's what Times Square is like. It's like so bright and colorful. There's people trying to like do everything, all sources of entertainment, because people are really out there trying to get some money, but I enjoy it. It's always cool to just sit there and people watch. So the first time I was looking at all the views, the shopping, walking around and stuff. And then my second time I went, I just sat, ate some pizza, and people watched, and definitely got some free entertainment. Make sure you head to Wall Street and see the Wall Street Bull. Give the bull a nice good rub, if you know what I'm saying, so that you can have a nice year. Hopefully my attempts paid off. Another important stop would be to go to the World Trade Center Memorial. The memorial is beautiful, and I loved how they put everything together. The second time I was in New York, I was actually in that area on September 11th. It was nice to see the different traditions and honoring everyone in the community and all of the first responders and all of the families. Definitely stop there. The Roosevelt Island Tramway. I feel like this is a hidden gem because I didn't even know about it the first time I went. You can use your subway card. I don't remember what it is. I want to say Breeze, but I think that's MARTA. Metro. You can use your Metro card and then just like be lifted literally across the city to Roosevelt Island. So that was pretty cool. You can also walk around Roosevelt Island. Like, there's a few things to walk around and see there, but we just wanted the tramway experience. Of course, I did not forget going to Grand Central Station. I feel like at least one movie that everyone has seen in their life has taken place in there. The architecture is nice. It's cool to walk around. There's also a dining concourse, so you can get food and coffee or whatever. If you're liking this video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe for more travel tips. Now that we've got all the touristy things out of the way, let's talk neighborhoods. I always love exploring local neighborhoods because it gets me away from all of the busy tourist activities and actually exploring the real of the city or the area that I'm visiting. Two great neighborhoods for you to visit for lunch or for dinner would be Little Italy and Chinatown. They're walking distance from each other, so you could really hit both in one day. But if you want meals in both places, you might need to like span it out a little with the Brooklyn Bridge or something. Next up is the Hudson Yards. This area is home to the Vessel. The first time I went to New York City, you could go into the Vessel, not to the top, but like in. This most recent time, you couldn't go in, but I heard that they were opening it back up soon. So hopefully by the time you see this, it'll be back open. It's definitely a nice structure to go and see, even if you can't go inside. And then while you're there, walk the High Line. I loved the High Line because it reminded me of the Belt Line in Atlanta, but if you're not in Atlanta, it was like a long strip of greenery and grass and benches and parks and water fountains and other things to do. You could pretty much take the High Line all the way to the Chelsea Market, which has some of the best food in the city. If you're looking for more of a local vibe, I really liked the Greenwich Village. They have historic townhouses, Washington Square Park, I believe. There's a lot of good restaurants there as well. Next is Columbus Circle. Columbus Circle Circle is a busy area with lots of shopping, lots of restaurants and businesses, and also very easy access to Central Park. Going to Columbus Circle just puts you right at Central Park, which is always nice to sit and people watch or take a morning jog or walk around the park. Union Square. I say this with a smile on my face because the first time I went to New York, I didn't go there. And then this most recent time I went to Union Square and I was obsessed. It is a busier area. There's a lot of businesses, stores, restaurants. It's a huge park, but I just loved the vibe of it so much that I ended up going back like 3 times. I went and bought a book at the bookstore. I went for lunch one day. We went to a comedy show nearby in that area. So last would be Rockefeller Center. Depending on the time of year you can go ice skating. I went towards the end of December, like after the 25th, and they still had the Christmas tree up and the ice skating. I really liked that experience. It was pretty cool. But if it's not that season when you go, you can still walk around and explore in that area. Comment below which site and neighborhood is a must for you when visiting the city. All the exploring and sightseeing is fun, but I love getting to do activities and have different experiences. You can't leave New York City without catching some local stand-up. Pretty much everywhere. The Museum of Ice Cream. I was a little nervous about this because ice cream is my favorite dessert. I'm obsessed, but I also didn't want it to be like too childish. Each room gave us something to do, whether it was an activity, different ice cream to try, something to put together. I liked it. It was a cool experience. I talked about visiting the Vessel High Line and the Chelsea Market, but you can also make a whole day out of it and do a little bit more. Also close to the Chelsea Market is the Pier and Little Island Park. I really liked how it looked, but we went here after the High Line, so I was not trying to walk up those little steep hills they have at Little Island Park, so I just got the views from down below. Drunken Lab. It is in Brooklyn, so it's definitely going to be a little commute away from the city. I loved how immersive it was, and the experiments we got to do were pretty cool. At one point I was like, this seems like a club, but it's full-on science experiments. You definitely have to go to Summit One Vanderbilt for your first time in New York. It's one of the viewpoints that isn't too expensive, and I feel like what it offered measured up to the price. It is a little expensive, don't get me wrong. If you're short on time, here's 5 things you can do to get a great feel of the New York City you see on movies while also feeling connected to the city. Times Square, the Vessel / walking the High Line, a comedy show in Greenwich Village or Union Square, going to the Chelsea Market, and Brooklyn Bridge and Dumbo. Let me know in the comments what's at the top of your New York City list. Whether you're planning your first trip to New York City or planning a trip to go back, I hope this video gave you some ideas. If you like this video, don't forget to check out my other travel related content, and I'll see you next week.